Boom. Shaka Laka. Welcome back to this week's Going the Distance Live. Quick shout out to everybody joining in. Last weekend, I guess I'll just start recapping stuff. Stuff happened. So last weekend, what up, Russell? Last weekend, I was in Rock Hill, Sakaka, Laka for the Bob Jenkins Memorial 5K and York County Championship meet. Had the opportunity to run with my old high school buddies. A guy that two people I've shared a lot of miles with in my life. One of them being the one and only Jonathan McGinnis, Johnny Mac as we call him. We've been running together since we were, he was 13, I was 15. He was part of the state championship, which I don't know if there's. Oh, it's up there. Boom. It's right up there. He's the blonde, skinny one. Haha. Anyways, that's a picture from right after the state meet when we won in 2004. We were the best team in the state of South Carolina. So we've been sharing miles and arguments and conversation for 15, 16, 17 years on and off. Now it's not as frequent as I like since we don't live in the same town, but Jonathan's a really good runner in his own right. He was all-state numerous times. But anyways, we got the opportunity to line up and run the Memorial race together. There's a quick highlight video I just posted if y'all want to watch. As I've said a couple times, that race is honoring the late Bob Jenkins, who was a big figurehead for track and field in the state of South Carolina. He played a fairly important role in my running career and hundreds and hundreds of other athletes in their running career. So it was a lot of fun. Sorry, I've got a cord issue going on here. Sorry. All right, now I'm much more comfortable. All right, that's why I was off. So it was a lot of fun. I got to line up with McGinnis. What was supposed to be a kind of leisurely jog early on Saturday morning, but some kids decided to, and I mean adults, because the kids were racing after us for the York County Championship. But some other people that enjoyed in the race had spiked up and were looking to run pretty hard. And we were on our home course, Northwestern High School, where he and I had done so much running and so much damage together. And we took off and we were enjoying ourselves out for a little jog. And McGinnis is in the middle of a big marathon buildup, so he's pretty daggone fit. I was on the tail end of a break and had only run about 1 or 2 times in the last couple of weeks. I put on 8 or 10 pounds and wasn't really looking to run hard. Plus, I had that whole, immunotherapy infusion thing, which just makes you immediately unfit. But excuse me. But we didn't like the fact that there was people in front of us. So after the half-mile mark, we slowly started working away at the guys in front of us. Because part of it's my fault, part of it's McGinnis's fault, because he also has a broken off switch, so he doesn't know how to not run hard. I looked at him and I was like, are we really going to let this guy beat us? Is that what we're going to do? We're going to let this guy beat us? And we started working on him, and we caught him about the mile mark. Caught him pretty quick. Started working our way through him. The guy followed us. One of them did, latched onto us. And after 2 miles on a little kind of hilly, tough section of the course there that goes around behind the track and down beside the varsity football practice field, comes down and around, and It's a pretty tough section of the course, not because it's overly hilly, but just because the footing's really bad in the grass, the type grass that's there too. The course is not quick by any means. It's very fair. It's not quick, but it is fair. It's a very fair cross-country course. Side note, too many people in America right now are hunting fast cross-country courses, which are manicured soccer fields, basically, is what people want, or something like McAlpine Park, which is packed hard pea gravel. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not cross-country. The Europeans would be laughing at us, which is where cross-country was, of course, invented and started. And it was literally called cross-country because they were racing across the countryside, not on manicured grass fields where you're basically turning it into a track race. And don't get me wrong, I'm a track runner, but I like my cross-country courses tough. And it's actually not to my best interest for the cross-country course to be really tough, but I like running a challenging cross-country course. I'm not as good at it, but it doesn't matter. The spirit of cross-country is getting muddy and nasty and running things that are tough. You've got the other half of the year and the other parts of the year to run on that flat circle that's like perfectly manicured. So anyways, our cross-country course has always been fair. It's never been fast. It's never been slow. It's just fair. It's a good, fair cross-country course, and I love it. So we kind of had some home course advantage and pushed through that hilly section, and I was nearly broken in the process of that push because I have lost a lot of my fitness in the last few weeks, and I was laboring pretty bad. I had this funny thought. I was like, at least I probably look good still. Then I saw the highlight video, and I looked heavy running. I might not look physically heavy, obviously, because I'm still fairly slender, but when you've seen yourself at various stages of your running career, and you look at the video, and I know it's gonna sound absolutely pretentious of me, but let's be real. When you're comparing yourself to the best in the United States and the best in the world, you kind of have to be a little pretentious and a little picky. But I looked very heavy, and it was certainly a little alarming. Reminded me how much work I got to do. But we got the opportunity to go 1-2. They gave him the win, which was partly by design. McGinnis won it last year, so I wanted him to be able to kind of win it again. We finished not holding hands, but we were pumping and waving to the crowd. So we ran a couple seconds slower than the fastest kids in the county did. I think we ran like 16:45 or something. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. There was actually a bunch of the high school kids that were all running around because some of their coaches and friends and stuff or family members were running. So they were actually running around kind of as they were getting ready. That they were at all the mile marks, kind of yelling at all of us, and it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good energy there. They let me shoot the gun. Northwestern almost pulled out a victory in the county over Fort Mill. Came down to a couple of points. So they got second. I was a little disappointed in that, but it was a really good run from them. And it was fun being back in that energy back there in South Carolina. And all the course, there's just a lot of memories out there, whether it be in high school, whether it be in, at home training in college or post-collegiate and stuff when I was there. All right. So to explain that, Greg, so it wasn't an overly competitive race. It was really a memorial race. So for those of us, we weren't running all out. Well, I certainly kind of was, but it was a memorial race. It was the idea was just kind of like celebrate Coach Jenkins' life and just get out there and run hard. So I say by design. McGinnis lives there. He lives in town. He'll have the opportunity probably next year and in the year's future to kind of keep winning that title. So I don't want to mess up his streak. No, normally it would be cutthroat. And I also knew that if it turned into a cutthroat, either foot race or if he really decided to push, he would have broken me pretty easily. So there was no reason if I tried to beat him, he would have run me in the ground. The only chance I would have stood in beating him is acting like I wasn't going to, finish side by side with him. There was no, we're friends, so we're just kind of trying to finish side by side like we had. And I guess, yeah, I understand that when there is a race, but I know this was called a race, but it was really kind of a memorial run. I guess we'll call it that, a memorial run. Um, Race mode kind of switched on and switched in when there was somebody in front of us. But once we beat him, and we're friends running together, and we're not trying to beat each other's head in. And then when you're 1 and 2, it's just you're kind of having fun. But we obviously didn't want to lose to the guy that was in front of us for a while, who was also apparently one of the coaches of the other schools now. So we had to beat him, and once we beat him, it's just two friends out running. So it's not so much the on off thing, and trust me, we've pounded on each other enough over the last 15 years to to know when to go hard and when to go easy. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. When I'm traveling the country racing or wherever, I want to beat everybody, or even in practice. There's times I want to run my training partners in the ground or whatever, but in a situation like this, it was really about celebrating and having fun. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun being back there and seeing so many people that I have been integral parts of my running career and who I am as an athlete and who I am as a human. It's a human being on this earth that's flying through outer space at 1 billion miles an hour. But it was, I really did. I had so much fun. But I guess the kind of transition into what's going on with me and like where we're headed. We got some downtime here from competing. Don't really know what's going to be next as far as the race, which is a really good thing. I've got open calendar. And hopefully I might be able to run some cross country races. Maybe I'll run the national club cross country championship that Russ was talking about. Ran the Masters race at Lehigh University. Lehigh was where my PR was in college up until my next to last race my senior year at App. But Lehigh's a fantastic course. Talking about another pretty fair course. It runs fast because the footing's good, but it's not all easy. Lehigh University's hosted. They hosted NCAAs a couple of times, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been when Alberto Salazar won a year or two in there. You running nerds that are out there can probably correct me on that, but pretty sure it was I know Alberto raced there. I remember seeing a picture of that, but I don't know if he won or it was when he lost to somebody else. But yeah, also my best friend, my other person that I've shared thousands and thousands of miles with, Chris Moen. He was part of that Zap Fitness team when they won at Club Cross that year at Lehigh. Arguably, probably one of his best races ever, because he was not a 10K guy and not a great cross country guy, but he scored well for them and helped them win that title. But yeah, so I don't know what's on the dock. We started back running, and I say we because this is a team here. Anybody that's listening to this, y'all are certainly part of it. But as far as an athlete goes, it's not just me. There's a coach, there's physical therapist, and trainers and my doctors that all get me to the starting line and get me healthy and get me running. What up, Ate? They get me running. They get me out the door, and they're part of the process of figuring out what's next and where the schedule's going and everything and what we're going to be doing. But right now we are 3 days into the buildup of what I'm considering the buildup to Eugene 2020. Everything right now from with my body seemingly cooperating with everything. Things seem to be in remission. Everything right now from this moment forward is going to be with the bigger goal of being ready to make a really big splash in 2020 at the trials and try to earn a spot on that team. I know how outlandish it is and how ridiculous it may seem, but it is definitely a really big goal of mine, and it's something that I want to work toward, that I'm not going to shy away from it. So we're working at it. We're going to clip away at it. And I'm kind of standing at the bottom of Mount Everest right now for me, because I'm certainly in decent shape. I think I didn't fall as far as I thought I would have. Certainly didn't fall as far as I did after my last infusion back in February. So I was able to run, I think, 16:45 for 5K on like 1 or 2 days of running. So that lets me know that I've retained a little bit of something, because that's what's been so difficult about the last year is that, like, you're training in periods in between these infusions. So you're constantly having to reset. You're constantly losing fitness. My body doesn't have a time to, really get completely clear of all this stuff before you kind of have to really start racing again, and then find yourself on a break. So you never really get any good momentum going. You never get to just put in huge blocks of training, which ultimately make you really successful. So it's been interesting. It's been it's certainly been fun. I've had a lot of fun doing it. I'm ADD, so training in short cycles like that has certainly helped a bit. It's because there's always a goal right in front of you. It's not like right now where I'm sitting at the goal, looking at the goal of racing fast in July next summer. That's 10 months away at this point in time. So it's not like there's a lot immediately in front of me and the pressure of having to train. So that's a really good place to be in, because you can be methodical. You don't have to worry about every single day being a home run and knocking things out of the park, or trying to force your body to do something it might not be ready to do. We can take our time and have the long-term process kind of in mind. And I'm excited about it. And as much as I want to look up at where I'm going, it's kind of like the fear of heights thing. If you look down on a tightrope, you want to. I don't want to spend so much time looking up, but just looking right in front of me and what I'm grabbing for, and where I want to, go is way up at the top. But like I can't look all the way up there, because if I do, it's going to kind of freak me out and make me wonder if I can get back there. But we're going to take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, one run at a time, one step at a time. And that I was actually ironically reminded of this. And I guess we'll give a shout out to the old philosophy at Northwestern High School for their football team back when they were really good. It's another story about what's going on there right now. Some unhappy alumni, we'll just say. But the philosophy was win today. And that can mean so many different things in life. And, I work with athletes of wide-ranging abilities. I talk with vasculitis patients around the world. And you've got to take things one day at a time, one step at a time, one workout at a time, one test at a time, one bad thing at a time, and that's really kind of what that slogan really means to me. It is win today, and you want to win more days than you lose. And when you do that at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the cycle, at the end of the year, when you chalk up more wins on the board than you do losses, then you're doing good. I say the same thing about diet too. Like, if people are eating, if you, for math's sakes, are eating 21 meals a week because you got 7 days, you eat 3 times a day roughly. If you're eating 19 of those that are pretty healthy, 18 or 19 or 20 of them that are pretty healthy, one meal is not a big loss. And that's the mentality that you have to look at when you've got a really big goal that you want to achieve. Whether that's running your first marathon, or you've got to, like me, like that treatment that I had scheduled for, that I had a little over a week ago, or 2 weeks ago now. No, it's 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. God, time's flying. I'm really busy right now and not used to it. So, so it's 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago tomorrow. Yeah, 2 weeks ago tomorrow. I'll get it right eventually. But yeah, when you've got all of that, I don't know, lost my train of thought now. When you've got all that to build up to, and work on, like, you've got to take things one day at a time. And I certainly didn't want to get that infusion. It wasn't a lot of fun sitting there in that chair, and it's hard to look forward to that. It's hard to look forward to things that are, maybe going to temporarily set you back a little bit, but you got to look at the big picture. And for me, in that instance, the big picture was long-term health, right? Long-term health, being healthy down the road, so that I don't have to do this again. Would have been a little easier to maybe skip that last one and not have to fall so far after my season and not really have to kind of start over from ground zero. Yes, it would have been. But with the big picture in mind of long-term health at 31 years old, I can't take that risk. So you're going to have to do things. You're going to have to make tough decisions. But that day was hard. That day, even though it was a win because you're getting modern medicine that's keeping you alive, it certainly at times feels like a loss. So I really challenge people to win the day, win the battle that you're fighting, one battle at a time, and don't worry about the larger picture of the giant war that's going on, or what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do, and caring too much about the individual things, because we're all going to have days where we lose. We're all going to have days where we don't want to work out. We're all going to have days where you just don't want to get through it, and you're going to have days where you lose. You're going to have days where you show up and you have a bad workout and it's just not going to go to plan. You're going to have days where life catches up and you can't do it. You don't have the mental energy. You don't have the physical energy, and you cave that day. But you know what? You're going to go to bed, hopefully sleep a little, even though I know it's hard sometimes when things aren't going well. And you're going to wake up and you're going to start the day anew. And you're going to start the day with the goal of winning that day. And you got to have short-term memory. And I kind of stole that mindset from golf, because golf, while every shot's a new shot. Every shot's a shot that can go bad or a shot that can go good. And the last shot, your last shot might have gotten you where you're at, but that last shot has no bearing on what your next shot's going to be. Meaning it might have buried you way in the woods, but that swing is going to have nothing to do with the swing that you take next. Now you might have to have a different swing because of to get you off the base of a tree and punch it out, but or hit some bending, sweeping hook to get around some trees or something. But there's a chance to win that shot. And if you don't forget about the bad shot that got you there, it's going to affect your next shot, and you need your next shot to be good. And that's how it is in life, man. That, each day you wake up, and I know it's really hard when we get stuck in those really vicious cycles of anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. It's really hard to think about the next day. You're really kind of stuck in that moment. And during those moments, those things are very, very real, and they're very, very tough. But you got to remember that things are going to move on in life. Things are going to keep going. And if you show up tomorrow and try to win tomorrow, it is a new day. And I've been thinking about that a lot over the last couple of days, because I think that's one of the things that over the last couple of years, and something that certainly even that I did really well in 2015 and 2016, is I wasn't trying to hit home runs every day. I was just trying to win the day. There were certainly times where a home run style effort was needed, but I didn't focus in on it, and I didn't worry about it too much, even if it didn't go well. But you got to keep winning the day. You got to win today. And if you lost yesterday, put it behind you. Have short-term memory. Learn from it and go on. I know I said that a lot, that something's only technically a failure if you fail to learn from your mistake. But yeah, no, just get in there and just try to win today. Win the day that is in front of you. Win the workout that's in front of you. And if you do that one day at a time, and you get a bunch of wins lined up, then you're gonna have a fantastic thing going, and you're going to build that momentum that's going to get you to your goals. I've talked a lot with athletes over the years about everybody used to have this idea where, you planned your season backwards, right? You started with your goal race and you planned backwards, and you sketched everything out. Like, you drew up the workouts that you wanted to do and when you wanted to do them and when you wanted to be ready for whatever your goal race is, whether it's the Boston Marathon or whether it's the Olympic trials or whatever it is. You wanted to win. You wanted to like plan everything backwards from there, and it just didn't always. I don't think it always works that well, right? I don't think that being so rigid, because you have to be willing to change, you have to be willing to adapt, to kind of like the golf shot thing. Like, if you planned on hitting it in the fairway and you based every single shot on hitting it into the fairway, and you stuck to that shot and mindset of using the same swing that you're in the fairway, trying to hit at the green, and if you're buried in the woods, that swing's not going to work. And sometimes in life you get buried in the woods, and you gotta be able to change. You gotta be able to adapt. Now, that doesn't mean you don't need to have an overarching plan and don't need to have some concepts that you need to adhere to. But like, if you work all the way backwards, you're going to find yourself stuck, and things become far too important, I think. And I think it's really, really important to, try to just win each and every single day and forget about the day before and focus on what you got done and what you can accomplish that day, because it's just going to be so, so different. And you got to bring new energy to things. You got to bring new energy out there. And if you're hung up in the past, you can't do that. And if you're even hung up on the future too, like if you're thinking about a workout, because I see this happen a lot, and especially in track and field, because like if you plan backwards, then every single workout becomes, I think, a little too important. Because if you're looking at the workouts, like where there's one or two workouts a week, and it's like this workout is based at the end is based on you being able to do this, and this, and then that puts into the mindset, well, if I don't do this workout right and that goes bad, then that's not going to set me up right for the next workout, which means I'm not going to be able to do the workout after that. And that means like the race might go bad. I might not be ready for that race. So if you don't like take a step back and realize it's not one individual session that makes you fit, that makes you ready to compete, it's the little things you do every single day along the way, winning those little single battles, doing all the things right that are ultimately going to get you there. You kind of lose track of it and things become overly important. And I've seen it happen far, far too many times over the last, 15 years of my running career. And I've even fallen into those traps myself at many times, thinking, and that's one of the reasons why I have a coach. I might coach a lot of other people and have their big picture in mind, but I can't always keep that in mind for myself, and I get greedy. And I get antsy, and I want to, and I have that same thought, well, if this doesn't go right, but if I'm not in control of that schedule and I have a coach that controls that for me, then I'm not worried about that variable as much. And it's one of the reasons why I still have a coach, even as much as I know I'm not capable of giving myself good advice when it comes to running stuff. I'm just not. Every time that, due to scheduling stuff, sometimes my coach and I, like right now, we haven't discussed a lot of things about the beginning part of my buildup and training here as we start to kind of get back into shape. And if I've learned over the years to try to kind of slow that build up, that build into it, slow it down and not rush. But, I don't have a lot of direction right now, and that's good and bad, because it could be really easy for me to get overzealous, hop in a workout I don't need to. But it's taken me making those mistakes over and over again before I finally went, maybe I should have listened to coach. But whip one today. That's what I like to hear. Yesterday was pretty damn good. Way over par. Saturday still old man though. Yeah. So you got to keep winning the day. Whip's got a big marathon coming up in New York City, and things have been tough. Things got a little rocky there in the middle with some tragedy of him losing losing his pup, losing his dog, somebody, uh, you know, that was really special to him, and those hurt, and we all experience those things and a build up to anything that we're trying to do, whether it's trying to get through school, trying to get through college, trying to get the next promotion at work, and every time you turn around, you feel like somebody else just kind of like slapping you in the face, but yeah, you just got to keep going. And I love hearing stories like that. I really, really love hearing stories about that. Whip your best friend. I stand corrected. But yeah, you just got to keep winning those days. And I think that's really important. None of these ideas are mine. I'm just a portal to, as I say all the time, of which I also stole this. I am not that smart. I just repeat what smart people say. I know who's smart. When I'm around really smart people, I feel really, really, really dumb. Like my physical therapist / biomechanics wizard over at High Point University. He is one of the smartest human beings I've ever been around in my life. He just looks at things and can figure things out. Because he's got such an engineer's brain, but for the body, and he's just seen so many humans move over the years and understands just so innately how that body moves and how it's supposed to move and where something might be a little off. And he's just got the right eye and the right brain for that. And it's humbling being around people like that. My kidney doctor is the same way. And he's so smart and has just so much knowledge that it's really humbling being around those people. So I just steal the stuff that they say and repeat it. I read books, I read things, you might not have time to, so I'm blurting them out there for you. And not everybody has access to all that stuff. And, I've been very fortunate in my life to be around some really smart people, and I just steal away. It's like music and songwriting. Nobody's probably had a 100% original song idea in 30 years, 40 years. I don't know. There's three chords, 4 chords, there's only so many chords and so many notes that work together. So something came from something was inspired by something. And that's what I was inspired by. Ironically, it's not there anymore. If it is, I didn't see it. But there used to be a thing in the gym at my high school at Northwestern. It just said "Win today," and it was a big exclamation mark. And that's what it meant. It meant win today. It meant nothing else other than win the moment that you're in. And I think that's fantastic model to live by. Whip 17 days to New York. I know I'm gonna be following you. I'm gonna be tracking you. I'm gonna be creeping on you. Did you find a racing shoe yet? I might consider loaning you a pair, if you know what I mean. If you're still looking for one, I might know a brand of a shoe that you tried one time that you kind of liked. It might be fast. I don't know. But yeah, so that's what the message is for everybody. Just keep winning days, keep showing up. Another slogan I probably stolen from somewhere. Just keep showing up, keep trying to win that day. Don't let, and it's so easy to say, but just remember, like, I've been through the ringer. I've been in those moments. I've been in those really down positions. And I've wanted to give it up, wanted to throw it all away. And if you just take a step back, surround yourself with people that are good for you, that are good for your energy. That's why I think running with people, even though running is a very intrinsic and individual sport, it's an amazing experience to share with people. And everything's just better with your friends, guys. Everything's better with your friends and family and the people that you care about. It makes the tough times better. It makes the good times even better when you're sharing those experiences together. And if that's what you do in your good experiences is shit, thunder, and crap lightning, or is that what you're going to do in your marathon? Let's hope not. Unless you're Shalane Flanagan and can take a poop in like 19 and a half seconds during the Boston Marathon in a rainstorm. I would recommend making sure your pipes are clean. but no, it's about winning the day when you're running a marathon. You know, they always say life's a marathon, not a sprint, right? My life's really an ultra marathon. You know, you got to take your time, but you know, you gotta hustle. It could be full of, like a lot of ultra marathons, peaks and valleys and really beautiful things, and moments where you want to stop and give it all up. Moments where it's just not even worth it. Moments where you might be crapping yourself and questioning your existence on this planet. But I guarantee you, if you'll lean on the people around you that you care about and that care about you, it'll make it a lot easier and make it a lot more worthwhile. You know, I've said it a million times on here, but I find so much strength in all of you, and the thing that we built and the thing that we're doing and sharing with each other. It's absolutely incredible, and I couldn't thank all of y'all enough for being a part of it. Oh, I forgot about this. I guess if you haven't had enough of my voice, I'll share it now. I'll make sure it's in the description online and stuff. But if you haven't had enough of me, then you certainly can listen to this podcast. Andre Fraticelli, I always mess it up. Sorry, I'm dyslexic and can't write and failed English. So we're just gonna go with Andre. Andre had me on his podcast last 2 weeks ago, but it required some editing, of course, and we recorded a very, very, I think, honest conversation. He asked some really good, tough questions, and I think we kind of got to the heart of a lot of what and why I ever started running, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and why I continue to do what I do. And he actually broke down some quotes from the book, which nobody had done yet, and in any of my interviews, actually, believe it or not. I've kind of had a lot of those going on here recently. So you'll be seeing more. If you haven't had enough Beho's Nasty in your life, you'll have the opportunity to get plenty of it in your inbox, on your social media feed, and in your life. But it was a really honest conversation, I think. And I could actually share probably one you may have seen on social media yesterday, that I got the opportunity to be in the High Point Enterprise, but I can share you with that link with you here. But it's behind a paywall because some papers are charging for online subscriptions. So you might have to, if you want to read some of it, you can kind of like zoom in, maybe really tight on the text. But once again, it was a fantastic article that they did here. Jimmy did in the High Point Enterprise. But if you're willing to pay for a month subscription or something, you can find it on the highpointenterprise.com. I don't know what that website is, but you're smart people out there. I know my audience is probably pretty smart and can find it. But yeah, that's what I got for you guys today. It's stuff's buzzing over here. I apologize. But I guess the message today is just win today, win tomorrow. Today is tomorrow. Tomorrow is next year. So win today. I think I just tried to blow my own mind. I don't really know what I was trying to say, but that worked out in my brain a lot better than it came out. So yeah, no, you just gotta keep winning the day that you are. Live what's in the tomorrow is today, and today is today. So yeah, win today. Go out there and win today. And as I tell you guys each and every week, actually, I'll finish with this. I just kind of thought about this. You know, the people that I've had the opportunity to be around in life that I think are incredibly intelligent and have had huge impacts on the way that I look at things and my view of the world and everything. I kind of had this discussion with my mom when I was home. You know, what makes what makes, I think, a lot of those people very special is their willingness to learn and listen. And, to learn, sometimes you got to, you got to recognize that you're wrong, recognize that something you believed in might be wrong, recognize a stance you might have, you take might be, might not be the right way to look at it. So, I've been confronted with a lot of that, and, it happens all the time. And we're not always just talking about, really existential conversations. I'd be just talking about something as simple as, lactic acid in the body and whether it exists or doesn't exist. And you've learned something and spent so much time reading about it and hearing about it your entire life. And then you get somewhere and you realize that that's actually kind of a mistake in old literature and it's not really what it is. And, your mind's just kind of like, so it takes, I don't want to say courage, but I think some people think it takes courage to admit you're wrong and admit that you didn't know something. And I think because I've just always felt like I never knew anything. So I was always kind of seeking a new answer, seeking something like that I just never really got around to being too secure in one thing. So I'm always kind of looking to pick things apart. So that mindset might help you because, like I like to normally leave every week is, go out into the world and learn something or read something that might just change your mind. And that's why I say that, because the best people and the most curious people that I know, which are scientists, a lot of them are scientists, not all of them are scientists, but they study, they read, they learn, they test a hypothesis, right? They're putting something out there to test that hypothesis and see what happens, right? Throwing that stuff out in there and trying to learn from it. So that's, I think, so important. So, and I've said it I think 30 times in the last 2 minutes, but it's important. It's very important to do. But with that said, I'm gonna leave you like I do every week with that motto that I tried to have a nice segue into, but just didn't really work. But you guys stuck with me while I landed that plane that ended up way out here. But yeah, just go out into the world and learn something that might just change your mind. And I will see you guys and gals, crazy people, next week. Till next time. Love you.